The window explodes inward, and the shaved-headed man with paint-stained hands dives across the floor as glass skitters like hail. Something heavy thumps against the far wall, and the lights flicker without going out. A paper photo slides from under the door, still warm, showing the same room already wrecked in a way that hasn't happened yet. He stares, then hears boots in the corridor. He bolts the door, but the bolt jams halfway, and the thudding outside becomes patient. The image in his hand shows a toppled rack that is still standing behind him. The tall woman with short black hair appears from the bathroom, barefoot, asking why the power keeps blinking. He doesn't answer, because the photo is changing color as it finishes developing. A third figure, the lean man with a broken nose, peeks through the kitchen pass-through, already counting exits. The boots stop, and something metal scrapes the doorframe. The scrape becomes a knock, too formal to be friendly. The shaved-headed man hides the photo under a canvas, and the canvas shows a shape he doesn't remember painting. They don't open the door, and the knocking moves away, down the corridor, then stops. Silence settles in layers, and it's heavier than the noise was. The lean man finally asks where the picture came from, and nobody answers. The shaved-headed man says they should check the empty unit across the hall. They cross into the locked studio unit using a ring of keys that shouldn't still work. Inside, the air smells like dust and hot plastic. The room is a museum of instant photographs, all facing the same wall-sized contraption aimed directly at their window. A new sheet hangs half-ejected, ticking as it cools. They pull the half-ejected photo, and it shows their living room with the rack already fallen. The rack is still standing, and nobody touches it. The tall woman counts timestamps and notices every picture ends at the same minute. The machine hums like it's waiting for a cue. They return to their place and deliberately knock the rack over. The crash echoes, and a new photo slides out across the hall without anyone touching the machine. The new image matches the mess perfectly, down to a shard nobody remembers. The lean man laughs once, then stops. They argue about tricks until another sheet prints by itself, showing their room crowded with people who are not there yet. A time is stamped in the corner, tonight. The heavy-set guard with gray beard appears at the stairwell door, asking about the noise and the glass. He doesn't see the machine, but he notices the splintered frame. They invite him in to keep him close, and the photo under the canvas feels like it's getting heavier. The guard's radio crackles with a call from the parking lot. Downstairs, rain turns the asphalt into a mirror, and someone waits in a car with the engine off. The lean man sees the reflection first and says nothing. Back upstairs, the machine prints again, this time showing the guard on their couch and the window shattered. The window is already broken, and nobody sits. They realize the pictures are not warnings but appointments. Somewhere below, a door closes, and the ticking in the other unit speeds up. They drag the machine's latest photo back to their place and tape it to the fridge like a threat. The heavy-set guard with gray beard keeps his radio low and his eyes on the hall. The lean man with a broken nose says they can make money if the pictures are right, and he says it like he already has. The shaved-headed man with paint-stained hands doesn't like how easily the idea lands. The tall woman with short black hair argues that refusing an appointment might be worse than keeping it. Nobody says what worse means, and nobody moves the taped photo. They wait for the time printed on the corner, and the minute hand feels louder than the rain. When it arrives, nothing happens for a long breath. Then a new sheet slides out across the hall, and the guard stiffens before anyone speaks. The image shows a stack of bills on their table that doesn't exist yet. The lean man grins and says he knows how to make stacks appear. The shaved-headed man says no, but he doesn't tear the photo down. By morning, rain has washed the parking lot clean, and a different car waits in the same place. The guard pretends not to see it. The lean man leaves and comes back with money that smells like cigarettes and metal. He puts it where the photo says, and nobody asks where it came from. Across the hall, the machine answers with another sheet, showing tomorrow's table even fuller. The tall woman doesn't smile, but she doesn't look away either. They repeat the ritual, and the room starts to feel like a stage that only exists for one camera. The shaved-headed man paints because the pictures say he does. Another image arrives with two figures too close in the background and the painter in front. The lean man laughs, and the tall woman doesn't. That night, they stand where the picture says and stay there longer than anyone planned. The shaved-headed man watches the clock instead of the canvas. The next sheet shows a stranger on their couch, and the guard's radio goes quiet. The stranger's jacket is the color of wet asphalt. By afternoon, the stranger is downstairs, and his friend stays in the car. The lean man keeps checking the hallway like it owes him money. The stranger comes up, sits where the photo said, and asks about lucky streaks. The shaved-headed man says nothing and keeps his hands visible. They show the picture by accident, and the stranger doesn't blink. He says the camera belongs to all of them now. They show the picture by accident, and the stranger doesn't blink. He says the camera belongs to all of them now. Money piles up, and the parking lot keeps the same two silhouettes at night. The guard stops answering his radio. One evening, a photo comes out with a crude symbol on the canvas that the painter would never use. The mark looks like a warning drawn in a hurry. They hide small tools around the room, pretending it's just clutter. The lean man practices a swing where the couch used to be. Down by the gate, the guard says he's changing jobs and hands over a card with a badge on it. A car across the lot turns its engine off. The painter brings the card upstairs, and it becomes another thing nobody wants to touch. The machine hums as if it heard. The stranger and his friend arrive early, and their eyes go straight to the fridge. They ask why a guard would need a badge. The stranger and his friend arrive early, and their eyes go straight to the fridge. They ask why a guard would need a badge. They cross the hall so the stranger can check the machine himself. The painter stays behind and listens to the elevator never come. In the locked studio unit, voices rise and fall, and then there is a short, wet sound. The friend doesn't come back out. When the stranger returns, the lean man is already moving. The appointment is kept in seconds. They carry weight down to the basement and leave it among boxes that nobody opens. The machine prints a photo of money where the bodies were. Back upstairs, they stare at the picture and then at the cash that arrives. The room smells like rain and metal again. The painter says they should leave while leaving is still a word. The lean man says tomorrow is already booked. A knock comes that isn't patient and isn't polite. The tall woman opens the door to someone who knows the machine. They are marched to the basement, and a letter is read that predicts blood on glass. The boxes listen. The letter is wrong about the past and precise about tomorrow. The visitor says the machine can look further than a day. They walk back upstairs, and the lean man decides the visitor won't walk back down. The gun changes hands. The basement gets heavier by one more secret. The machine prints a photo of the lean man alone with money. The painter packs anyway, and nobody helps. The tall woman doesn't look at the suitcase. At the printed hour, the lean man takes the picture like a ceremony. Across the hall, the machine answers. The new image shows the tall woman and the lean man together while the painter sleeps on the couch. The painter doesn't sleep. The tall woman leaves the room without explaining anything. The hallway keeps her footsteps. The painter shows a small ring he never gave, and the lean man answers with the back of his hand. The basement waits. The painter wakes to cold concrete and a humming light, with his wrists burning where rope used to be. He is alone among boxes that remember everything. He finds a broken bottle, works his hands free, and stands up shaking. The stairs feel longer than they should. Upstairs, the machine is already awake, feeding paper like it's hungry. He doesn't go near it yet. He fills a bucket in the bathroom and carries it like a promise that can still be kept. Water sloshes onto the hall tiles. From across the hall, he calls out and says he will drown the machine if he has to. The tall woman answers from inside their place, too quickly. The lean man appears behind her with a gun, and the hallway narrows. The painter keeps the bucket raised like a shield. The painter tells her to check the lean man's pocket, and she does. She finds the ring and forgets the gun is pointed at her. She takes the gun, opens the door, and the painter comes inside without running. The machine across the hall keeps humming. They tell each other to pack fast, and nobody looks at the taped photos. The suitcase waits by the broken window. The lean man rushes from the kitchen and hits the painter from behind. The bucket rolls and spills into the hall. They crash into the table, and the painter can't get his hands up. The tall woman moves once and then again. The lean man stops moving. The room keeps moving around him. She goes to get ice and doesn't come back right away. The painter listens to the building breathe. He follows the sound of drawers instead and finds her at the window, not in the kitchen. 2 notes are already taped to the glass. The machine across the hall prints even though the wrong hour is stamped on the clock. He asks how long it has done that. She says she always knew, and the apartment feels smaller for the truth. She talks about mornings and messages and guiding hands. She says the pictures taught her how to make him fight for them. He says the machine taught her how to lie. He says it ends now and turns toward the hall with the bucket again. She raises the gun like she is correcting a mistake. The window gets its blood exactly where the letter said it would. The painter doesn't hear the shot, but he falls anyway. She stares at what she did and then at the notes like they can still fix it. The machine waits across the hall. She tapes a new message that says not to stand by the window. Her hands don't stop shaking. In the corridor, footsteps come that do not belong to the past. A radio crackles with a voice she recognizes. He sees the hall, the glass, the silence, and he draws his weapon. She opens the door without arguing. They walk past the room that changed everything, and she keeps looking back at the window. The note starts to peel at one corner. She breaks from his grip and reaches, but the guard is stronger than panic. The paper drops and slides. The machine begins its feed like it always does, on time and without care. Across the hall, nobody is there to watch. She is taken down the stairs, still believing in corrections. The building does not answer. The photo finishes developing with a room that is exactly as it already is. The message is missing. Downstairs, rain starts again, and the parking lot keeps its mirrors. The guard puts her in the back seat. Up above, the apartment holds 3 silences and 1 window that will never be clean. The corridor lights flicker once. In the basement, boxes keep their weight and do not speak. The building keeps its secrets because it was taught how. The machine cools and then starts to hum again, as if tomorrow is still a place. No one goes to stop it. In the car, she watches the building shrink and thinks about mornings. The guard does not turn on the radio. The story she wanted to rewrite keeps its punctuation. The period is glass. Night takes the corridor, and nothing else happens there. That is the only mercy left. The machine waits for another appointment that will never be kept by these people. It does not understand the difference. The guard files his report and keeps his voice flat. Some buildings teach you how to do that. She looks at her hands and sees no instructions there. The future does not answer questions. Upstairs, the painter's canvas dries without him, and the mark never gets finished. The room does not care. Upstairs, the painter's canvas dries without him, and the mark never gets finished. The room does not care. Morning light reaches the corridor and finds nothing to fix. The building answers with the same quiet it practiced all night. Across the hall, the locked studio unit stays closed, and the hum inside fades and returns. Nobody writes new rules for it. The photograph from last night is still on the floor, showing a room that already exists. It does not age. In the loft, the broken window lets in traffic noise and nothing else. The couch keeps its shape. The suitcase stays where it was dropped, half-packed for a trip that never starts. Dust begins its slow work. In the basement, boxes hold their weight without complaint. The bulb does not flicker anymore. Upstairs, the machine wakes itself and then goes still, like a habit that forgot its owner. No paper moves. A maintenance worker passes the corridor and doesn't stop, because there is nothing to see. The building keeps its lessons. Down in the lot, rain starts again, and the asphalt keeps its mirrors. The reflections do not argue. In the back of a car, the tall woman with short black hair watches the building until it disappears. There are no notes left to follow. She closes her eyes and opens them, and nothing resets. The road keeps going. The guard files the last form and locks the folder. Some doors are easier to close than rooms. Back upstairs, the studio unit stays locked, and the key goes into a box with other keys. Nobody tests it. The loft is sealed and labeled and then forgotten. Paper notices curl at the corners. Weeks pass in a way that looks like dust. The machine does not argue with time. The photograph on the floor fades a little at the edges but keeps the same room. It never shows anyone new. The building keeps standing, and that is its only talent. Everything else has already happened. Somewhere on the road, the tall woman stops looking back. The future does not change its address. In the locked room, the machine stays quiet, which is the closest it comes to mercy. No paper moves. The story ends where it was always going to end, in a room that cannot warn anyone. The building keeps its silence.